Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to another day going over the names of Allah, the 99 names of Allah, which are mentioned in a hadith that if we are to memorize 99, Allah has 99 names, and if we are to memorize them, then we will be amongst the inhabitants of Jannah. Ameen, ameen. So yesterday we went over a few of the names of Allah, the first of which was At-Tawwab, second was Al-Jabbar, and the third was Al-Hafid. Today, inshallah, we will cover three more names. So without further ado, Bismillahi wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. The first of the names which we will cover today, inshallah, is Al-Hasib. And Al-Hasib can be explained as the one who is the reckoner, or the one who takes account, and the one who is sufficient. So I'll go through each one of those points, inshallah. The first of which is the one who keeps account, or is the reckoner. Essentially, Allah is ever watchful, and He hears everything, He sees everything. And we know that we have angels who are with us by the command of Allah, who are recording all of our good deeds and our bad deeds. And additionally, on top of that, with regards to all of creation and the whole alameen, the whole heavens and the earth and the world, the universe, essentially, it's everything, all the matters that take place in it are recorded in Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, the preserved scroll, or the preserved tablet. Everything that happened before us and everything that will happen after us, it's all been recorded, and it's with Allah. The knowledge of it is with Allah. So there's nothing that occurs, even if it's the drop of a leaf, in a remote jungle where there's no one around, or a remote rainforest where there's no one around. If a leaf is to drop, Allah knows about it, and it's already been recorded. So subhanallah, Allah is Al-Hasib. He's the accountant. He's the reckoner. He keeps an account of everything. And even the smallest of the actions which we perform, the smallest of the good deeds, Allah will not let that go to waste. Oftentimes we hear that in the Quran or in various ahadith that even the atom's weight worth of good deed or bad deed is not going to be unaccounted for. So Allah is Al-Hasib in that sense. And He, inshallah, will reward us for even that smallest bit of good that we do. And may Allah forgive us for even that smallest bit of evil that, or sin that we've committed. So He, in His quality of being an accountant, or Al-Hasib, or the reckoner, He calculates all of that in due measure. And we know that we have the scales which will be brought before us as well on the Day of Judgment to calculate for us, weigh out our good deeds versus our bad deeds. And Allah is the one who can suffice us, and that's another aspect of the name of Allah being Al-Hasib, is that He will be sufficient for us for whatever we've done of good, or contrarily, for the disbelievers, Allah's punishment will be sufficient for what they did in this life. So moving on, inshallah, the next of the names, of the three names which we are covering today, is Al-Hafid. And so this is a lot like the name that we covered yesterday, Al-Hafid, but it is Al-Hafid. So there's a difference here. And although it's a seemingly minute difference, the name Al-Hafid implies a more intense level of protecting, or guarding, or preserving. So As-Sa'di said in his tafsir that Al-Hafid is the one who protects that which he has created and whose knowledge encompasses that which he has brought into existence. He protects his slaves from falling into sin and disaster, and he takes care of all of them. He takes care of them in all situations. He records the deeds of his slaves and the reward or the punishment for that. And then Al-Khatabi said in Sha'n al-Du'a that Al-Hafid means Al-Hafid. So he is saying that they mean more or less the same. They're one and the same. Both are active participles, meaning that Allah is actively guarding and actively preserving. It's something that is done on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Allah doesn't stop doing this action. That's why one of his names is understood to be Al-Hafid and Al-Hafiyy. Rather, Al-Hafid, he mentions, carries a more intensive meaning. And he then goes on to compare the word or the name Al-Qadir and Al-Alim. So Al-Qadir meaning the all-powerful, and Al-Alim meaning the all-knowing. So it could be understood that Al-Hafid is more intensive in its meaning than Al-Hafid, but both of them, they mean more or less the same, that Allah is guardian, he is the preserver and the protector. So moving on, inshallah, the last of the names that we are going to cover today is Al-Hafiyy. Al-Hafiyy. So this name, it's not one that I know to be in the other lists of the 99 names of Allah that some of the people commonly hold that that is the correct list. However, upon research, we find that the names that we are covering in this series, inshallah, which were compiled and recorded by Sheikh Ibn Al-Uthaymeen through his study of the Quran and Sunnah, this is one of the names that's in them. It's Al-Hafiyy. So in the Quran in Surah Al-Maryam, ayah number 47, Allah has mentioned with regards to this name, where Ibrahim alayhi salam was speaking with his father. And inshallah, let me go through the ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قال سلام عليك سأستغفر لك ربي إنه كان بي حفيا. Where the meaning of it is, and this is in context to Ibrahim alayhi salam speaking with his father, and he said, peace be upon you. I will ask forgiveness for you from my Lord. Indeed, he is ever gracious to me. And this is the point where, I want to talk about that, the fact that he is ever gracious to me, the fact that Ibrahim alayhi salam said that. And that is, the meaning of Hafiyya, being ever gracious, and particularly with regards to someone like Ibrahim alayhi salam, who was, Khalilullah. He was, Allah befriended him, and he was a friend of Allah, a very close and devout slave and servant of Allah, alayhi salam. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon Ibrahim alayhi salam. So the meaning of the name Al-Hafiyy is the gracious and the one who is very favorable towards his servants, and the one who wills good for them and is responsive to his servants and his devoted ones. He's the benevolent to them, and it can be understood as an attribute of Allah, Al-Hafiyy, where it indicates that he is having a good disposition towards his creation, which he which he chooses, for himself, the believers, and his servants. So the implication that, inshallah, I want us all to kind of keep in mind is that the more obedient we are to Allah, the more we do our jobs of worshiping Allah. I mean, that's the reason why we were created. So the better employees we are, essentially, right? Our job is to worship Allah. So as an employee, we need to worship Allah. That's why we're here. The better we are, then the more responsive and the more gracious, the more giving, the more kind Allah will be with us. He will favor us, inshallah. And it's indicated by Ibrahim alayhi salam saying to his father that, he will ask forgiveness for his father. And he had high hopes that, that Allah is Al-Hafid to him, because he knows like the relationship that he and Allah have. Ibrahim alayhi salam is obedient and he is pious and righteous. So Allah is favorable to him. And so his hope was that Allah answers his du'as. And we know that he did, in fact, answer Ibrahim alayhi salam's du'as. And the more that we are obedient to Allah, the better slaves we are of Allah, the more, inshallah, he will be gracious to us and kind to us and answer our du'as as well. So with that, inshallah, we'll close for today. Inshallah, I hope to see everyone tomorrow at 3 p.m. Let me see if there's anyone who left any comments. Sarah, Ukhti Sarah, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك وأتوب إليك.